Here at the King's School Parramatta, we find a gathering of British sensibility in the Sydney sun, which would seem to be a fitting environment for, of course, James and Jeremy.
So it's a 1948.
Yeah.
And how far has that travelled? How many miles has it done?
That's a good question, Bob. How long's the Speedo been out for?
Bob owned the car, then Simon, and now Rob. I was just saying, you think, poor Rob, I think they give him a decent car. On that, we used to have one of those, like that. I used to climb up on the roof and jump off it. That was sort of like entertainment before we had Wii 2 and PlayStation. All we could do, probably before television, just jump off the roof of cars all the time. I think that one will do you. Thank you.
And what would be a more suitable mark to represent the folklore of British motoring than Aston Martin?
It's a 1968 Aston Martin DBS, the original William Townes design with the big four-headlamp aluminium grille. And I think it's got really crisp and lovely styling. You know, this is the new, fresh 70s look, whereas the DB6 was really the old sort of 50s and 60s style of car.
It's the 100th anniversary of Aston Martin. We started with the other end of the alphabet, nearly, with Wolsey. Now we're at the beginning of the alphabet. Let's go and have a look at one of the iconic ones, the DB5.
The Bond car.
The Bond car.
If we could all agree on one car model that seemed to make the 60s swing, I think it would be this one.
Aston Martin DB5, everybody knows it's the James Bond car. Aston Martin, quite good at using cars for promotional purposes and in films. We just saw the DBS, which was of course Tony Curtis's car in The Persuaders. And of course Tony Curtis drove the Ferrari Dino. Jeremy, we've noticed something about the wheels on this one, haven't we?
Yes. Now, of course, the standard wire wheel on this car would have been a steel rim, but this has an aluminium rim in the style of a Barani wheel. But it isn't a Barani at all. It's sort of like a replica of a Barani, made by a company in England with a pseudo-Italian name.
Furino. Okay. What do you think we'd call that? Is that Old English white or what?
I'd call it Buttercup, I think. Buttercup.
Okay then. Let's go and see if we can find Daisy. Well, you can't come to a British car day, Jeremy, without looking at Jaguars, and E-Types in particular, one of the quintessential English cars. This is 1961, 3.8 Series 1 car, flat floors. Flat floor meant there was no rear really to rest your feet in a footwell. You sort of had to stick your legs out all the time.
This is a Series 2 4.2 fixed head coupe.
It's horses for courses. This is probably the better car, as Jeremy said, but for the purists, the Series 1 is the one to go for, with the beautiful aluminium dash, much more refined.
Of course, Peter O'Toole and Audrey Hepburn featured a yellow Mark I E-Type in the 1966 film How to Steal a Million.
The older you get, you put on a bit more weight. So by the time we get to the Series 3, the Jaguars, even Peter O'Toole could have got out in and out of the doors of this one because they're massive. So in order to move all that, what did they need, Jeremy?
A V12 engine, 4 carburettors, and even on this model, power steering and an automatic transmission.